Hi, I'm Michelle B. Griffin, and welcome to the podcast of the She's Visible movement, the show where we help women, experts, and leaders become recognized authorities in their fields. Each week, join me and my guests as we share our lessons, our stories, and what it really takes to build the visibility and personal brands of women just like you. I'm delighted you're here. Now let's get going with today's show. Hey, everybody, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. This is part two, and we're going to get into the new rules of visibility we need to know to propel us for the coming year and beyond. As I mentioned in last week's episode, I'm interviewing Antonia Taylor, who's a communications and PR expert based in London. And this is a condensed version of our LinkedIn Live, where she and I each brought our 3 rules that we see how women can get ahead. And there's some really good advice here. And more importantly, it gives you the mindset, the beliefs, and the real action steps. If you are still on the sidelines or still overthinking that big opportunity you're wanting to go for, the big thing you're ready for, the next level, next step up, I know I'm speaking from experience right now as I continue to build the She's Visible platform, the programs, a group program coming up, and you start overthinking everything. These 6 new rules of visibility, I know when I re-listened to it, it got me going again. I know it'll help you as well. Also, for those who like to listen and may even want the written rules, I've got you covered. So I'm going to put a link in the show notes to a newsletter on these 6 new rules of visibility where I list them all, what it means, and what you can do to take action now so that you're noticed, known, and chosen for that big new thing you're here for. So it's time to start putting yourself out there, get visible, get recognized. So let's get started right now with today's show. Welcome, everybody. And I'm delighted to welcome communications and PR expert, Antonia Taylor. Welcome and happy birthday.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you again.
Mm.
You researched and wrote this incredible white paper, which is really a mini book in itself. And today we want to get into the new rules of visibility as a woman in business and leadership that you really need to know in 2026. You saw a problem being in PR. We see problems, we see trends, and you decided, hey, I'm going to write about it. Tell us the backstory.
Yeah, thank you. I'm in PR. We are very much trained to spot trends. We're about taking that to the media. One of the things I'd noticed a couple of years after the pandemic was the way that I felt that women in leadership, our peers, our colleagues, our friends, it just felt that increasingly women's stories, women's presence was being marginalized from being on LinkedIn and observation, or I understood what was going on in workplaces as well. A lot of things around proximity bias, and I guess like the massive trend towards remote working potentially didn't always support women's careers in terms of velocity, trajectory, etc. And while this is observational, pretty soon the data also started tracking. And I mean, we've got all the stats about the Economic Forum reforecasting gender parity. I think they've put back to 123 years, gender pay parity. So that means my daughter's 17, my friend not yet born will not see gender pay parity. There was a very important report here in the UK last year, the Lovelace report, that actually found that women exiting the workforce is costing UK tech upwards of 2 billion. And the McKinsey report, and how they'd identified an ambition gap and how corporate America was actually in reverse in terms of women's progress as well. So all that combined, and it's how then, with all these systems in place, and how can we actually ask women to build personal brands, to be visible when all these systems are at play? And the big thing that I wanted to make sure that being seen focused on was to be very clear that this is not a women's problem. This is not another problem for women to create a workaround on or to fix themselves. It is systemic, and we have to look at systems at play. And also as individuals, so there's a collective issue, and then also as women in leadership, what our opportunities are, and also what our responsibility is as well, to some extent, to drive visibility for women.
You did a strong case for that in the book, and you and I are both on a mission to help women be visible. And I wanted to invite you to go through the rules of visibility, the new rule, because I was going to help women take notes and take action. The women I serve aren't trying to be influencers, content
No.
creators.
Yeah.
They're simply using their brilliance, experience, and wanting to put themselves out
Mhm.
there for service-based visibility to make their contributions help someone else, which
Yeah.
in turn, you got to get out there. And I've dealt with it too. I know what it's like to feel stuck and stagnant, hidden, held back by my own chain. And I don't want anyone else to feel that way. So what is your number one rules of visibility?
So this, I have just been leading a 5-week visibility challenge across Substack, LinkedIn, and on Instagram, and reviewing everything that came out of the launches being seen. But it's that visibility start to how we see ourselves, and I really believe that there's almost that internal barrier that does hold us back. And I would encourage everyone as your first step to build out a visibility practice would be to interrogate that, so get clarity on how you want to be visible, why you want to be visible, who you want to be visible as, and then step into that identity, because I think that's what will propel you forward. That will help you embody the behaviors of a woman that has embedded visibility into her leadership. And I think that would also make it sustainable, because we don't need a content plan. We don't need more willpower. We need to understand visibility better and what that means for us in terms of our work.
That really goes over to my side. Now, what I'm
Really?
going to say, my rule is clarity. Okay. Be clear. And you are hitting the internal clarity,
Mm.
mindset issues. It really goes into my recognition roadmap that helps you put yourself out there. But it's in clarity in who you are, where you want to go, why that matters, who you're here for. Know your unique way of seeing it. In the age of AI, we need to have some unique content, but your lived experiences, contributions, the way you see it's going to really impact others. So be truly clear. And that really works for AI too, because it needs one lane you're in. So it's not confused, vague, fuzzy, or mixed signals. Internal clarity, and external, how you want to show up in the world. So that's one. And
Yeah.
two,
Well, flowing. Anyone would have thought we'd be prepared these earlier, Michelle,
no,
honestly.
it just flows so naturally.
This actually comes from being seen. A number of my contributors highlighted this point in terms of what the takeaways were from building a visibility practice. And it was really about how you nurture yourself, be mindful about how you want to sustain your leadership presence. So obviously visibility, it's a two-way thing, right? It's about community, it's about connection. It's not like you're not visible in one day. It's a relationship. So it's really about how you think about what you're consuming as much as possible. So one of my wonderful contributors, Nikki Regazzoni, she's a founder of the PR Network here in the UK. It's a global organization now, but she's always thinking about their own PR. And like, she'll go for a walk and listen to a podcast, and then she'll be like, okay, how can this become a LinkedIn post, for example? Or sharing reports, sharing books. It's about how everything that you weave, those elements of your life and those enriching resources. And in many ways, you're then sharing that back to your community. You're contributing in a deeper way. And again, Claire Williams, who's the CPO at Cypher and the founder of the F Suite, her thing was very much about how she embeds visibility in her day to day. She'll take out something, she'll follow up a meeting, she'll celebrate a team member who's been promoted. It's just about that sort of like consciousness of actually, this is going on in my world and it will help someone. I have something to offer. So I would say that, and nurture yourself for visibility.
That's number 3, and that really goes in line with my view on service-based visibility, but are we already on number 4? My number 4 is be credible. Now, we are credible. We're brilliant at what we do. We have expertise, but we can talk all day and share it, but when we have others validate it, that just lifts us more. And so to your point, and that's an extension of you saying, doing all these things, contributing LinkedIn and having other people possibly invite you or write about you or whatever, that just signals that, wow, she's got amazing experience. These are signals that other people validate you too. And that helps your visibility amplify. So it's really taking your visibility and your knowledge out there, very hand in hand parallel with what you're saying. So third party people can start referencing it and
Well,
referring it.
someone who's got 25 years in PR, I'm not going to challenge that third party involvement or the value of it.
Now more than ever, the gatekeepers are open. We can
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
so many avenues and channels where we can make this
Mm.
happen. That is number 4. Be credible, be proven like you already are, but let everybody else validate that. Okay. Rule number 5. What's your rule there?
This ties back to the clarity piece that we both talked about in terms of internal and external clarity. I am never going to be someone that makes an Instagram reel jumping around, throwing things and doing fancy edits. It's just not who I am. I am going to write a Substack that I really care about consistently and lead in that way. I am going to go onto LinkedIn because I feel confident there. I have a very supportive, lovely community that I've grown over the years, and I know it works for me. So I would really encourage everyone to find their place of power, because I think that, again, is how you develop a sustainable visibility practice. If you want to dip your toe into TikTok or whatever, go ahead, be my guest. But I just think it becomes so much easier and the scaffolding is much stronger if you are using a channel that you feel really comfortable with, and a channel that nurtures you back as well.
We can't be something we're not
Yeah.
and step out in a way that doesn't light us up or feels right. You
Yeah.
can't force it. I always say, does this light you up? Is the work light you up and the way you're getting out there light you up?
Yes.
But it's such a
Yeah. Yeah.
parallel to my number 3 is continuity, is be continuous, be present. And I'm guilty of this too, because there have been times I have been all over the place and then I start overthinking or I get busy and then I step out a little bit. It doesn't make anyone's life better when we have this brilliance and gifts and transformation we can share and want to put it out there. And then we come back every now and then. You're helping these people. You're helping yourself too. So we continuously get out there. What serves you and your audience best is the way on your timeline, but just continue whatever those steps are. So be present, because we look to the people we see top of mind that way as well. We just went through 6 rules of visibility, the new rules of visibility. Then I'll put these back in the show notes for all those who are scrambling to write these down. But I wanted to at least get through these because things have shifted. How do you feel now that you've heard all 6?
I think you could take this, and I think you could start now. You don't even have to start tomorrow. You take one thing, start with a clarity practice, make it meaningful, tie it into what you're doing in your work. Just grab your notebook and just go for it. Have a little scribble, have a little journal, think it through. And then I think it's pretty foundational as well. Also, one of the rules that we hadn't talked about in here was that you start small, but start. Don't maybe go and set yourself up a YouTube channel. Say, okay, I am going to commit to Michelle's point. I am going to commit to a continuous practice of one LinkedIn post. Even if you start at a fortnight and you build up your cadence, but it is doable. And I think having that accountability is
Yes.
yeah. I mean, you don't really need a content plan. You just need to have these stakes in the ground. This is who I am. This is how I show up. This is my visibility practice, and this is what I commit to. And you just tick it up every week. You just it's that simple. It's really not rocket science.
You have permission and you don't have to be perfectionist, because I've done that and I've sat and watched the world fly by. I've watched opportunities fly by. I watched someone else who's doing something. I want to get out there.
We've all
do
done
it.
that. Been in situations where we've passed opportunities up intentionally because we didn't feel ready. My logo's not quite right at the moment. Oh, I need to update my website and then I'll go out into the world. No, none of that. It's just about you showing up. And like you said, people want your voice. They want your human experience, your lived perspective, your lived experience and your perspective. They don't want another shiny logo.
No, and they don't need content. They can get it from any chat GPT, Claude, Perplexity. The how-to's over. Way you see it, you do it is not over, but just generic stuff. So we have to be more personalized and authentic. I do want to say, of the 6 rules, I think if we bridge it over, start small, I think that gives everyone the permission. We're giving you permission right now. Like, we totally want to see you out there. You're sitting on the sideline. I've been there myself for 9 months in 2020 to want to post on LinkedIn. The answers come when you take action, no matter how small. I promise you, you're going to meet someone. Something's just going to come for you.
Momentum, you build and you watch what happens. You see what people are asking for, and then that becomes a new opportunity to contribute as well.
And we're not going to get into the LinkedIn algorithm now. We know it is just a whole different ballgame. But I just want to remind you, there's still a billion plus people. People see you, even though they don't post. They see you, or they'll check you out later.
Yeah,
having something. I'm not saying you have to go post all the time either. And maybe you want to go on Instagram or Substack or YouTube, whatever you feel comfortable with. Don't feel like you have to just do it because everyone else is doing it, right? It's what works for you. I think that was one of the biggest lessons I learned in my business. Doing work that didn't light me up, or the way I delivered it, or a channel or place that didn't light me up, just because it was the thing to do. And I think that's what really makes us not fulfill our true potential when we're just trying to fit into where we're not meant to fit in or belong at that moment.
It becomes that self-fulfilling prophecy of this isn't working. Why should I stay here? I feel like I'm wasting my time. And then you just like, that's when you exit. And you just, but if you find that, goes back to the point of finding your place of power, doesn't it?
I love to help women just become visible. So if I see women in the feed, I'm always shouting them out because it's just such a pay it forward thing.
I agree. I actually delivered a masterclass on Thursday and this came up. And I was like, it just, if you do one thing, just support, because of like, we all know what it's like to put a post out on LinkedIn and just, oh my God, it's got 4 likes. It takes very little effort to like or comment or contribute back. And that spirit of reciprocity is really powerful as well. So again, one small action that everyone can do after this is to go and find a female leader or colleague or peer, whatever, someone that you want to connect with and support something that they've done, because, you know, that would have demanded of them what we're asking people to do here as well.
As we wrap up today, let's give one takeaway. We've already said a lot, but if you're starting from scratch or just starting over or just getting back into it with all your research with being seen, what is the one thing you would recommend for women to stay with this year so they can do the work they're meant to do for whatever their goals are?
Building on what we've talked about, I would also think about contribution. This International Women's Day, for example, the theme is give to gain. And when I posted about that, a lot of women were like, oh my God, so we're being asked to give more. But I think also if you reframe visibility as contribution and its leadership is, like you said, it's paying it forward. Also, as a leader, it's about who's coming through. It's just about how you set that example as well. And
I love that. It's contribution. I'm going to second that as we close out today. So where can people find your guide and all the things about you?
on LinkedIn, I'm at AntoniaTaylorPR.com. And then also I am on Instagram at AntoniaTaylorPR.
Thank you for being here today. Because as we said today, we want to put ourselves out there for contribution, to share our expertise in the hope that you will too, because we all have gifts, brilliance, and expertise that can make a tremendous difference to someone out there. But first, they have to see you. And we're here to help you get recognized. So keep putting yourself out there. You have a brand to build, a message to share, and people to impact. We'll catch you next time. Take care. That's it for today's episode. And before we go, can I ask a favor? I would be so honored if you could give this show a rating and a review, because that helps more women who are maybe on the sidelines and so ready to put themselves out there, or who are ready for their next level and can find us and learn everything they need to build their visibility, their personal brands, and become thought leaders in their space. Thank you so much. Until next time, take care.